Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Ali Iftikhar. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Let's talk about the latest Express Entry draw, latest Express Entry news, and this time none other than Justin Trudeau himself. He came out to the mic, he came out to the screen, and he announced the new immigration level plans for the year 2025, 6, and 7. And then later on, Immigration Minister, he came in and then he provided the minute details. Okay, so let's talk about the first the express entry draw that happened yesterday. 1800 people were invited, big draw for trades category. Now this was a category based draw. After a long time, people were expecting that only CEC will be happening, but they brought back the categories, and number is good. 1800 people, 430s CRS range, 30s range was selected for the lowest ranked candidate. And this is a good looking draw, and I'm hoping there would be more category based draw. So if you're wondering what is this trade category, then it includes those mechanics, like for the air conditioning mechanics, heating, cooling, those mechanics, then millwright workers, the carpenters, the welders, those kind of jobs. They are the trades jobs, and they were selected in this draw today. Secondly, Justin Trudeau, he said that because he wants to win the election, he brought these reforms, which is going to stabilize the Canadian immigration system. But obviously, many people are disappointed by this. So let me tell you that don't be disappointed too much, because FHS, Federal High Skilled Worker quota for the year 2025 is actually increasing. From the previous year's announcement, that quota for FHS is actually increasing. So while everything is blurred, don't miss this thing that they're increasing from almost 110,000 to almost 120,000. But the number of PNP programs, they will be reduced this year. Okay, but FHS is increasing. Then next years, they're going to decrease the international mobility program, the non-LMIA work permit pathway. They're going to decrease that next year, but the normal work permit pathway will stay at 82,000. So the big news is 395,000 people will get PR in the year 2025. And this number is way down from the initially announced 500,000 people that were going to get PR in 2025. Initially, that was the announcement. Then they reduced it, and now they reduced it to 395,000, which is a big reduction. It is a 20% reduction. But this 20% reduction, FHS is actually increased. So they're going to be more focused on the categories, but they're going to limit the categories as well, because they're learning, they're evolving with the passage of time. So right now, the focus looks like it's going to stay on Canadian Experience class, because their main concern is the temporary residents of Canada. They want to decrease this number by 445,000. So this is a big decrease. They're going to decrease these temporary residents with two things mainly. One, they're going to give them PR if they're eligible. Secondly, if the work permits are expired, they're going to send them back. Obviously, they told in this press conference today, I heard that press conference, the immigration minister said that we hold the Canadian permanent residency very dear, and the Canadian citizenship very dear to us. So they're not going to keep on giving PR to the temporary residents who are not fit for the system. When I say not fit for the system, they don't fall into the categories, or they don't have the linguistic abilities, so things like that. So people who don't fall into the Canadian immigration criteria will be forced to send back. And we know that there are caps for these international students from each country. Then Canada is having diplomatic problems with some countries. So overall, this is impacting the Canadian immigration targets for the next years. And the reason why, for the people who are living outside Canada and who are not aware of the news, social media is filled with filth against temporary residents, against the increased number of immigrants via two reasons. Their housing problem is way high. They bought those houses at a bigger price tag, but now the prices are reduced because currently this is a buyer's market, and new houses are not built. So the people who are living there is an instance that 26 people were living in one room in Brampton, which was quoted by the opposition leader as well. But too many details. Thing is, Canadians they are turning against temporary residents and too many immigrants. So in order to win the election, in order to gain the public sympathy, that's why they want to stabilize the Canadian immigration system. But next year we don't know what's going to happen, who's going to win the election. And after the election, if the Conservatives wins, then refugees are gone. That's the clear picture that's right now. But if Justin Trudeau stays, then refugees might have a chance. But thing is, false refugee claims, they are hurting everybody. False colleges, false study visas, they are hurting everybody. And the reason for reducing the PNP criteria is something that I have an insight about. Yesterday I was talking to somebody in Saskatchewan who came on a SINP, the Saskatchewan Immigration Nominee Program. So they came through that PNP pathway, and they were telling me that many people who came through that pathway, they're moving to other provinces. Somebody's moving to Toronto, somebody's moving Ontario, somebody's moving to Calgary, somebody's moving to even Winnipeg, which is same like Saskatchewan, but they're moving to Winnipeg, maybe because they have relatives over there, we don't know. But many people are coming to those provinces with those PNP programs, with those PNP nominations, and they are moving out of the provinces, without contributing to that province who actually invited them. So this makes sense that the number of PNPs will be reduced so that the people are more focused towards living in that province. That will ultimately benefit everybody. So next year at least, because every year they change this immigration levels plan. So for the 3 years, right now they have announced that there is going to be a 20% reduction, but next year we can see something different, something more drastic, something more aggressive, or something more generous. We don't know anything certain about that, but the year coming up, that's going to be impacted. Temporary residents will be impacted, and the people outside Canada will be impacted because PNPs are reduced, and 40% of immigration will be from within Canada. So the chances of 60% are for the people outside Canada, and then they're going to prefer those temporary residents who are here so that they can become permanent residents, and overall the number of temporary residents is reduced. So keep in mind, in this press conference, Justin Trudeau said something very good. He said that the business owners, they are taking low wage temporary residents, and they are not hiring the Canadians there, because the Canadians would obviously demand, let's say, $80,000 a year, but they can hire a temporary residents who will be willing to work for $50,000 a year, right? Because for a temporary residents, because they don't have the mortgage, they don't have yet, they are single, maybe, right? So they are willing to work for $50,000 a year, whereas a Canadian would rather go for $80,000 or plus, right? So there are some things, but overall, this is not a very good announcement in terms of generosity for the immigrants, but at least the system is stabilizing. So when a thing is stabilized, the result is always better. So with these words, this is Elif Takhar, and I'm hoping great things are coming your way.